content management system that is the most popular content management system on the web, on the internet. It's used by so many people for so many big, awesome websites. It's by far the most popular and quote unquote or arguably the useful solution because it has so many plugins and themes available for it. It's created this marketplace, if you will, where plugin developers and theme developers can make a living by installing WordPress like I'm helping you do and setting up themes and all this. So we're going to use WordPress, and that's not to be confused with WordPress.com. WordPress.com is what's called a hosted blog service, much like Blogger.com and a TypePad or Movable Type. These types of services you sign up for and you get an address at WordPress.com like michaellasky.com, michaellasky.wordpress.com. Now that's not what we're shooting for. What we want is a hosted WordPress installation, and where you find that is at wordpress.org. Now you can go to wordpress.org and download the latest version of WordPress, and you can install the WordPress onto your server, your host. You'll remember we set up DreamHost. That's our host, and we can use an FTP plugin or application to log into our server and upload WordPress and install our website that way. We're going to do that way. We're going to go into DreamHost. You should have signed up for your DreamHost account, and so you can log in at panel.dreamhost.com. And I have a tool called LastPass. Please refer to the training material on how to use LastPass. It's a password saving plugin for Firefox and Chrome and whatever browser you're using. And I can go and select my account, because I have many DreamHost accounts that I'm going to use as our example. So I'll go ahead and log in. Now that we're logged in, we can set up our hosted WordPress installation on one of the domain names that we have registered and hosted at DreamHost. Now, if you haven't got this far, make sure you go back and look at the videos for setting up DreamHost and domain name registration and hosting. What we're going to do today is install WordPress on one of our domains that we've set up to be ready to have a website hosted on it. And how we can do that is under the Goodies toolbox. We have one-click installs. Now once we're in one-click installs, we'll see a nice big list of all these different pieces of software that we could install on our server in order to set up a website. All of them will create a website. They just have different functionality. Some of them are wiki type, some of them are shopping cart based. The one we're going to click on obviously is WordPress. And once we're in this screen, we can choose simple installation or custom installation. Now when you choose a simple installation, you're going to have done some previous setups in the back end of DreamHost already, including creating a database, a user, and a host name. Now if you do a custom installation, it will do that for us, and it will allow us to select a domain name that we want to install this WordPress site onto. So I'm going to choose 02surfing.com. And I'm going to say automatically create this database, and then I'm simply going to click install for me now. Okay, now if that was successful, you'll see a nice big green box that says success on it, and tells us that within 10 minutes or so we should be able to use our website located at this address. Now I will go to 02surfing.com, and I will notice that the DreamHost Coming Soon banner is still visible. Now what's going to happen is a WordPress install page will be visible to me once this installation is complete. So I'm going to pause the video and come back to this in a few minutes. Okay, so here we are back a few minutes later, and all I did was refresh this page, and now I have been redirected to a page on the website that is at the WordPress admin directory of the website, and it's called /install, and it's giving me a window that I can use to set up and the installation process, to complete the installation process. So this website's called 02surfing, and I'm going to set up a username. You shouldn't use the word username and min, by the way. I'm just going to do it for the purposes here. I will create my own personal user at another moment. And I'll set up a password. Now LastPass is asking me to generate a password, which is another great feature of this tool. It'll show me the password here and I can click accept, and then it'll fill that into the space for me. And then I need to set up my email address and allow my site to appear in search engines. If you are creating a very private, quiet launch, you might want to deselect this so that Google doesn't find your site immediately. Of course, if you deselect it, Google can't find your site, and you got to make sure you check this off again in the admin panel after the fact, or else your website will never show up. And in fact, I did that on one of the sites I launched couple years ago, and I was wondering what is going on until I finally figured it out. So I'm going to click install WordPress, and in just a moment I will have a website. So success. I've been prompted by LastPass to save that site, so you can see how useful this is. And now I can select from a group MJO. I don't see that, so I'm going to create a new user or group MJO02. This is the 02 surfing, and I'll hit save. Now that will be available to me whenever I log in, and I will go click login. And you can see now LastPass has created this opportunity for me to autofill, and I can check off remember me and log in. And now we have the back end of our website, the WordPress installation, the WordPress software. So you can see I'm at 02surfing.com/WPadmin. That's the address you'll always be at when you're working on the administrative area of WordPress. To have a look at the website, I can always click on this visit site link. I'm just going to right click on that and say open link in a new tab, so I can look at the front end and the back end of the website at the same time. I got two tabs open here, back end, front end. Those are two terms you're going to want to get used to. The front end of your website, that's what everybody sees, and the back end of the website, which is everything you use to work on building your website. So you can see we have a website. It has a few links. It's got a temporary placeholder post. It's got a navigation area and a header where we can change the images. And the default themes and different settings we can go ahead and start to configure. I'm going to get into that in the next video, setting up WordPress and configuring WordPress. But for now, there's just a couple things I'd like to get you started with. First of all, you should know that your server is just a computer somewhere else in the world, and your website sits on that computer just like any other files on your computer. Looking at my computer file somewhere, I can click through and look at folders, right? And in fact, right now I'm looking at my Dropbox folder, and inside my Dropbox folder I have a Passion Profits folder, and in that is the folders that I will share with all my classes and students. So if you go to passionprofits.com/getDropbox, you can register for Dropbox and then email dropbox@passionprofits.com, and you will get access to all these resources. There's some pretty great resources in here, like themes and plugins that I'm able to pass along to you. Now, FTP program like Transmit will enable you to log into your server, into DreamHost, and it will show me in a format of directories or folders the files that make up my website. So in 02surfing.com, these files here are the files that WordPress installed for me in order to create this website. Now on the left hand side, I can navigate to the Passion Profits Dropbox, for example, or any folder that I would want to just drag items from one side to the other. So it's very much like copying and moving files around. The left side is what's called local, and the right side is what's called remote, or the remote location of your website. Now, we're not going to get into too much of that. I just want to get your awareness up a little bit, and we're going to focus on one folder for a moment, which is WP Content. If I double click into WP Content, we're going to see two directories or folders currently. The first one's plugins and the second one's themes. Plugins are little additional software we can add to the WordPress install to make it more functional. Themes are what we can add to make the website look different and behave different. Now, the one-click install that we did with DreamHost provided a bunch of themes that you can go look through. Now, I don't want to use any of them. They're all just sort of freebies, so I want to delete them all actually. So I'm just going to come and select the top one, and I'm going to shift click all the way down to index because I want to keep that index folder. And then I'm going to start deleting these. I'm just going to delete all those. You don't have to do this, but I like to do this because in the back end of your WordPress site, when I go to Appearance and Themes, I can choose what theme I want to install on the site. And if I have a couple hundred of them on here, I could browse and look, which I recommend you do. But if I know what theme I want, it's just a bunch of extra material on my site, and I want my site to be lean and mean and agile and only have on it what I need on it. Okay, so that's the themes. The same thing with plugins. Once these are done deleting, I'm going to go back up to the plugins directory, and I'm going to delete whatever plugins I don't want. And I don't recommend you do this right away. I'm just letting you know that the plugins that you upload get stored here, and the themes that you upload get stored here. Now, in the future, you're going to upload images to your website. They'll get stored here in a folder called Uploads, and a bunch of other stuff will get stored here as well. Okay, so just a few configurations. The first thing you always want to do is go to permalinks, which is located under settings. We're going to talk about all these settings right now real quick. The first thing you want to do is change it from default because we don't want our page names to be $P equals the ID of your page or post. We want it to have the name of our post in the address to the page or post that we create. So you don't need to worry too much about why that is or whatnot. Just know that if I click on one of these, it's going to be changing this little code. And then what I know I want is I want to delete everything except for the very last one, which is post name, surrounded by these % signs and surrounded by these slashes. That's what I want to end up having in that field there. And I'm going to click Save Changes. Now, whatever pages and posts I create will have a nice, pretty URL structure rather than the question mark. So for example, hello world, if I go and look at that post, this is the edit screen, and I can view post, and now that path is hello world rather than question mark equals. The last thing I like to do immediately is under settings, and I believe it's under general. Oh no, it's right here under media. Organize my uploads into month year based folders. I don't like that. That's just my preference. So I deselect that and I click Save Changes. Now there's a bunch of other settings you can go noodling around in here. You can look at the dashboard, which will give you an overview of your all the different widgets you have available to see what's happening on your site. There's two types of content you can create right away, pages and posts. You can view and browse what media is available and add new media, meaning photos and videos and files and stuff of that nature. You can add links into this database so that you can display links to your favorite site. Eventually comments will be made on your site by users. Under appearance is where you can add and adjust your themes. You can impact your menus. You can change different theme items to design the look and feel of your site, the header and background. This often depends on what theme you have installed. You can add and configure new plugins. You can change your users or add a user. You can update your profile. Go noodling through here. We're going to cover all this in detail later. There's tools and settings is often where extra features are added when you add plugins to your website later. So that wasn't exactly one-click install. It's like 34-click install, but you can see it only took a few minutes. A lot of me talking here, and this video is